Today we visit a hidden gem and a collector's garden's paradise and meet with their owner to talk about new and exciting plants that are perfect for your garden. You won't want to miss it, so stay tuned as we garden smart in Oregon. Seabright Gardens is located in Salem, Oregon, and is surrounded by beautiful pastoral agricultural land and is a perfect place for a host of plants to thrive. The garden was initially started in 2003 as a private garden that surrounded the house, and over time it grew into a 4-acre treasure trove of collector plants that draw plant enthusiasts from far and wide. Today we meet Thomas Johnson, the co-owner of Seabright Gardens, to get an inside look at the operation. Thomas was raised on a farm in Canada and has always been passionate about plants. He started gardening at the age of 4 with help from his mother, and in time began selling plants in order to purchase more. Thomas's love of plants grew into a career in the Hosta, iris, and daylily mail order business, as well as a comprehensive website where plant lovers from all over can explore new and exciting plants. Let's meet Thomas and take a walk through Seabright Gardens. Thomas, thanks so much for being with us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Your garden is beautiful and there are way more selections here than we could ever talk about in one show. So today we're going to focus on shade plants. And let's start with one of the most ubiquitous of all shade plants. We see it in pretty much every good shade garden, and that's the Hosta. Can you give us a little background or history on Hostas?
Yeah, Hostas have been around for a long time, obviously, but they've really gained in popularity only more so in the last 20 years or so. They're native to like Japan, Korea, and parts of China, and they're wonderful shade plants.
Yeah, there's so much diversity there too, and sometimes when we walk into a garden center, you may only see 10 or 12 different selections, and so they've kind of got, you know, their blue leaf one, a variegated one, maybe some smaller ones. You've got over 1,200 selections here,
Yeah.
and I want you kind of to walk us through, you know, what is possible in the world of hostas. It's a very, very diverse genus.
Well, it's interesting because you can do a whole shade garden with just hostas, and it looks like you've got more than just one genus of plants because they come in so many different shapes and sizes. You know, they come from the little miniatures that you can use in rock gardens and troughs that like are only 4 inches in height, or they get up to, you know, nearly 3.5 feet tall or 6 feet across, you know, for some of the big giant hostas, and dinner plate sized leaves that are incredible. So there's lots of variation, and there's lots of different textures. You know, there's waffled and puckered leaves, seersuckered, you know, there's uprights, there's mounders, there's lots of diversity.
Well, also in the world of color, you know, there's so much more than just, you know, greenish blue leaves with hostas. We've got almost every kind of variegation you can imagine.
For
right?
sure, for sure. You know, there's ones with white edges and creamy edges, and there's blues with variegation, and there's greens with variegation. There's breeding being done now for stuff with red stems, so the leaf stems
Right.
have red stems. You know, there's some of the varieties have fragrant flowers, very sweetly scented, so that's a bonus. And so yeah, there's lots of diversity.
Yeah, it is a deciduous plant, but it has an incredibly long season. And also I think one thing that's very underrated with hostas are the blooms.
Yes, yes. No, they bloom very, very nicely, and they're absolutely hummingbird magnets.
Right.
And they bloom for a long period of time. Some of them look very, very spectacular in flower, and some not so much. But you know, if you don't like the hosta bloom, you can cut it off. It doesn't hurt the plant. But like I said, the hummingbirds absolutely adore them. And one year when I was taking the blooms out of the hostas, the hummingbirds were there actually cursing me. So I tend to leave them now until they're all finished. And
Well, on some of the larger varieties, I actually find the seed pod to be somewhat attractive. So you get even some of that late season interest as
Yeah.
you know, the leaves are starting to fade a little bit.
exactly. You know, some of the seed pods can be kind of a pinky tone color too,
Right.
and so yeah, there's lots of interest in the hostas, and they're very fun to watch grow. It's from the time they come up in the spring till the time that they're fully leafed out, and the color changes a little bit throughout the season as well on the leaves. So.
Right. Yeah, that explains why they've been so successful as a garden plant. Whether it's a a filler plant or something that could be just more spectacular
Right.
focal plant like
Right.
this one over here in the container.
Right. Right.
Just so much flexibility, so much diversity.
Yeah. No, for sure. They're a long-lasting plant. They live for 10, 15 years without having to be divided, and you get the beauty of them all summer long. Whereas most perennials, they flower and then they have their 2 weeks in the stage and then that's it. But hostas, have that beautiful mound of foliage and a gorgeous plant all summer.